the
it's
podcast.
going.
Yeah.
It's going.
It's going?
Yeah.
All right.
She just ups and says press
All right,
play.
we're just going to say welcome to another episode of the Up and In Show. Thank you guys. We're here in Cards and Culture. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being here.
Of course. Kristen looking fabulous.
We're official. We got to be loud.
Loud?
All right, we're going to be loud today because, we don't have a microphone catching our voices, so.
Yeah.
But a little different style today. We're sitting circular and not on camera because you're going to the supper club tonight.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. We got to go.
I know. We have to.
It feels weird not being in workout wear with you guys.
All right?
I know.
We got no cameras though. You're killing. We should be lucky because you.
I know. I was kind of nervous about having a camera. Like, Kristen's going to just
I know, right?
totally show us up.
I'm having FOMO about supper club, but
I know.
but no, we just wanted to have a monthly update, and I think we're going to do this often. Once a month. I think this is just fun as the workouts change, right? Like we talk about little hacks here and there to let our members know just ways that they can innovate for their workout, keep themselves guessing, after you've been at the gym a year, 2 years, that kind of stuff. Little things like this, I think, go a long way, so that way members can maximize their workout. So we're going to talk a little bit about the things that I'm doing in the gym. I've been working with you guys, and we kind of talked about that last episode. And then I kind of want to get into just some different like hacks and things that we each use during like workouts that maybe our members don't know.
Yeah.
So.
We were just talking before this, and my brain was going a mile a minute. Me and Kristen and Anthony just now were talking. I feel like I'm talking to
I know, right?
person right there.
I know. Well, Kylie said that we got to talk loud, so it's like I'm like, should I lean in and speak like that? No.
I know we talked a lot about how to approach like strength days, but the cardio days, I know everyone's kind of afraid of them. I feel like, or
Might be
they have this thing, this blockage, and I know for me. After I was talking to you, and I was kind of thinking, I remember for 3P, and I feel like members should do this as well. When you go into like a cardio day, you know it's going to be more challenging for your heart rate, right? But if you're not, like, your body can do it. I promise you. Most of the time, people freak out because they cannot convince themselves that they can do it. So they totally think, there's no way I can do this. My heart rate's going up. My heart rate's going up. No. But in 3P, we all try to push ourselves to our limit, and I feel like it's such a good test or a wake-up call to all of our members, like you're not pushing yourself enough. But if you're not ready for the cardio days, you're not going to push yourself to that, to your max, I feel like. So I know when I go into each cardio day, for me, this is just my approach to it. Before I know, when I look at the movements, and I know some of the members, they go in, they look at the movements, you can tell what days are going to be a little more challenging than others. I mentally prepare my body for it, where I basically say, you could absolutely do this. Push yourself to your max. And then now I know my body's physically ready. And I feel like every member there is. And then now you just let it be.
The same part of your mind that says you cannot do something is the same part of your mind that says that you can do something. And so exactly what you said, it's a mental preparation. You know that every Monday and Wednesday are going to be a high cardio day. You know that Saturday is going to include a lot of cardio. The timing is going to be longer. There are different ways to work cardio, whether you're doing it for speed and agility type of power movements, or if you're doing it for endurance. In general, cardio is exactly what it sounds. It is for cardiovascular health. So when people think cardio, they're thinking jogging, running, walking, playing tennis, and those are all great things for your heart, but unless you're working your heart rates in intervals up and down, you're not going to get as much metabolic benefit for that work, and you're also not going to get as much calorie burn.
How do you know about, so how does one, if I didn't have a wearable technology, how would I know which way to, kind of do those peaks and valleys?
If you wear a heart rate monitor, whether that's your Apple Watch, which is actually a pretty accurate, I feel like their heart rate reading is pretty accurate, or, we all wear Whoops. You can go back and look at your heart rate and data afterward. But if you have access to a heart rate monitor like Lionheart, and you can watch that on the screen if you have one in the gym, we do sell those. If you're interested, find one of us. But general rule of thumb is to take your age and subtract that number from 210.
Okay.
Okay.
Where do we get the 210 number from? I always wondered
This
that.
is just
Way back when.
data,
We've just
research
hacked
and
this.
data.
Yeah.
I
We've
mean,
just hacked that this
I'm
is the
sure
number.
we could,
Yeah.
we could find this.
Okay.
We can reference it in the show notes
Right.
if we need to. We will
I was
find
just curious.
The data,
I was just curious.
But it's a very general rule of thumb. You take the number 210, you subtract your age from that. So let's keep the math simple here because we're fitness instructors. We're not
Right.
mathematicians.
Yes.
So let's just say you are
30.
30 years old.
Right.
That's right. Your birthday is tomorrow. So this one's going to be
Wow.
rock star easy. Okay, so 210 minus 30 is what?
180.
Yeah.
180. Okay.
we all had,
We like,
we all had
oh.
to think about it, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
So we know that, Keri, in a general taking her age and that number gives you a general max heart rate of 180. Okay, so we'll call 180 beats per minute Keri at her max effort. That would be like if she was doing sprints, if she was, box jumps till she's huffing and puffing, can't take another breath. Okay, that's your maximum heart effort. Okay, so when you are doing a cardiovascular workout, you want to accomplish about 15 minutes at least 80% of your maximum heart rate for 15 minutes out of the hour. That's not consecutive.
Right.
That is over the course of your workout.
Right. So you want to touch it, come back. You can come
Right.
back down, touch it, stay there for a minute or 30
Precisely.
seconds.
And F45 has, again, killed this one because
Yeah.
they design your rest period so that your heart rate lowers back down so it can pop right back up. And so mathematically speaking, if you can work to 80% or higher of your maximum heart rate for 15 minutes over the course of your workout, you are on average going to be burning about 7 to 12 calories per minute, depending on, your fitness level, your height, all those things. But in a 45-minute workout, do the math on that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Versus going and sitting, doing a light jog for
Right.
an hour and a half and burning the same amount of calories that you could in a 30-minute,
Yeah.
really intense cardio workout, like 3-peat and like our big cardio days. So if you do not wear a heart rate monitor, so now you know how to do the math. 210 minus your age, that's your max. Work to about 80% or higher than that, 15 minutes over the course of your workout. If you do not wear a heart rate monitor, do it as a perceived exertion scale. Okay, so
I have a good example for that.
okay, love it. Good, let's hear it.
I'm thinking about it. So way back when, in high school, I was a swimmer, and I would swim the long distance, so the 500-meter swim. And I had this weird thing where, I knew I could hold my breath longer, but I don't know. So my dad's sister, amazing swim coach. She kind of worked with me. I was a great swimmer, but it was that. She said, okay, I want you to hold your breath until you physically feel like you can no longer. And when you get to that point, go a little longer. Then come for breath.
Yes.
And I was like, huh. And then she goes, okay, the next day, go to that point again, go a little bit longer. And over time, you're gradually getting in better shape and you're increasing your cardio.
Yeah.
And I think people are scared to get to that point.
Yes.
But let's say there's a 45-second round.
Yeah.
And for me, I like to count reps. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a way, my first round, let's say it's 3 sets. I did 12. I always try to go 1 up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And so that's just a trainer in me. I don't know if y'all count too. But I think whenever you're doing a specific movement, whenever you're like, oh, I can't pick up this dead ball again, pick it up again.
Yeah.
And then even if it's just one more time, you just help yourself just a little bit.
You're pushing that threshold just a little
Yes.
So you
further.
challenge your heart a little bit more.
Yep.
Don't go in, all out the gate. You're going to have to gradually get there. I feel like me personally now, I'm able to do it because you were just saying this. You want your heart rate to go back up, but the better you're getting in shape, the easier your heart rate is
Yes,
going to drop back
recovers.
down.
Exactly.
And then that way you're able to, your next set, all right, I'm ready to roll again.
Exactly.
So it's going to constantly go up and down, and that's when you know, oh, okay, I'm getting
That's
better.
how you're building endurance.
Exactly.
And stamina and actually cardiovascular health at the same time. But
And it's a lot of mental, like we
don't
just said.
stop before the clock. There's a reason this timing is set. And, they're at the end of those high pushes, those high bursts, if you can carry on conversation with your neighbor, you are now working hard.
You are perfectly fine.
You should be able to say a few words to each other uncomfortably at the end, somewhere between that and huffing and puffing.
Right.
If you want to do it right. And if you don't feel like you can get that accomplished with the equipment and with the, like, you find a way.
Yeah.
If you can't get another rep in, make sure your hands are always above your heart. You know your heart rate elevates when your hands are overhead. Find a way to incorporate more multiple muscle movements that require more oxygen,
Right.
so that your heart rate will go up.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're trying to give our members the control over how to progress themselves in their own workout.
Right. And I think like, what you were just talking about, I would love for you to talk about this, because I think approaching cardio and being able to, that last little second where feel like you're at your max, but you do one more and your heart rate went up high. Anthony does an excellent job of, like, he's not talking in the workout, he's very in his zone, but he's focused on his breathing. And I feel like a lot of people would try to breathe through their mouth, just going constant, and you're not letting your heart rate properly drop, so you're not giving yourself oxygen. And Anthony does a great job. If you ever worked out with him, in through his nose, and he's like really focusing on his breathing. I think that's why your body's so efficient when you're working out. That's
Well,
just,
I want to know, like, tell us about your breathing techniques.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the things that I've been working on and kind of correlate back with that same mindset, right? Threshold training.
Right.
That's kind of like what I call it, right? You're just pushing yourself just a little further each time and building that adaptation. I'm doing the same thing when I'm breathing through my nose. Can I do 30 seconds of an exercise just through my nose? Can I do, like right now I'm struggling with up and down stuff, or burpees, or things where, what was today? I'm trying to think. During the push-up one today, that one was tough for me to keep my mouth closed during that exercise, and it was really interesting to me while I'm doing the exercise. I'm like messing around with it. I'm like, wonder why it's harder for me, you know? And I'm like just challenging myself a little further to hold that a little bit more. Or maybe I didn't do an extra push-up and I just held the stability there for a second to hold my breath a little longer, you know?
Okay.
So I kind of challenge myself that way, and I mess around with like the pressure of my tongue on the roof of my mouth and kind of like the way that air flows down the tube. I don't know the terms. But
okay.
he's very in tune with his body. It's
like
very
I'm a psycho
impressive.
when I'm
Yeah.
working out. Like I'm in there thinking like,
No,
We know.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I wish people would learn from you, especially like the guys. I swear, because the other day he was doing a jump, and you were doing those fast box jumps,
Yeah.
and you're so aware of how your body responds to even cardio. I know we talk a lot about your body moving during a strength movement form and what muscles should be firing, but cardio, if you're not aware of what you should be working, you could feel like, man, I'm not getting the most out of this movement.
Yeah.
But if you know what you're supposed to be firing, it actually makes you more efficient.
Yes.
And you can push yourself a little bit more. That's just what I feel.
Absolutely.
So he was doing you were doing fast box up and down. You're like, my ankle's out. Like, I want to be able to flip faster.
Right.
And he's so aware of it that he made adjustments to where he felt more of the muscle. Even though he wasn't jumping on the big box, he might have been just jumping forward and back.
Right.
But he wanted to fire the right muscles
Yeah.
to be as efficient to work his way to that box jump.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think even in cardio days, I think it's just as important, if not, more important, to still be aware of your body and your movements like we do for strength days.
Yeah. For me, that's the way I challenge myself. And so I feel like I'm in good cardio shape, so I'll pick and choose, right? And I feel like because I got to play sports my whole life and I've had that type of training, I might think a little differently about the workouts. So I'll like go in and I'll look at the workout and kind of understand the movement patterns, how it's going to affect my heart rate, and then also understanding where I'm at mobility wise and like kind of retraining some of the exertion things that I was telling you about. So I'm like, okay, cool. I could probably do some of these for this, or like I have an understanding that like my range of motion is at this point and I'm going to try to do it for 30 seconds, or I'm going to try to hold it for 30 seconds. And then I know maybe 2 weeks later I can come back and I'm going to hold it for 35 seconds or 45 seconds. And to me, that's the fun part now, is like when I go through these workouts and I'm doing exercises I've never been able to do and I'm feeling different body parts where I'm like, holy shit, this is what I'm supposed to feel on this exercise. I used to like have pain during, you know what I'm saying? And it was like, this is what Keri and I talked about too, like last time, like I can get through any movement, like, cause I'll get through it, but it might not be pretty. It might not be perfect. Right. But I'm like, now I'm retraining and I'm like, I do want it to be perfect. And I am going to like wait until I can stabilize and exert force and hit the right muscle patterns or right muscle movements, to like hit that muscle. So
I think you just said it too. Stabilization. I think that's really key when you're approaching cardio, because we're doing higher power movements, we're doing bigger movements, faster movements, and you're less aware of what's actually going on, how your joints are hitting the floor and things like that. And so learning how to properly stabilize is huge, not only for all those reasons, but to prevent injury. So it's kind of like I watch you work out sometimes, and it's almost like every other part of your body might be moving wildly, but you're stable through your core, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip, and hip to shoulder on both sides. Like that box needs to stay stable, regardless of what's going on in the other parts of your body. But it creates that awareness and control of what you're doing so that you have a better mind-body connection. So you mentioned that, and then one other thing.
Because Kristen, you're so like into core, and I think me too. And like you just said, but people ask me all the time, how can I get a stronger core, or I want to work on this area. I'm like, jump in the right way.
Right.
Explosive plyometrics are like the absolute, like I feel like key.
Yeah.
When you do them properly.
Right.
Can you destroy your knees and destroy your back and destroy all of, yes, absolutely. But you have to have a strong core to be able to be successful in jumping movements. So I think it's just like so important. Like when you're doing a jump squat, your legs are burning, but if you're not engaging the core, and you say it all the time, and that's why I think like when you're doing movements, you said he's long and lanky, but he's always just stable.
Right, there's always control there.
Well, I think the word core, right, is so poorly defined in society, right? Like, I told you this. I've had a six-pack for 10 years, 15, right? Like, that sounds stupid, but, like, people assume, he's probably got a good core. I didn't even know what core meant until about 6 weeks ago, I feel like. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, wait, what? I have to stabilize this whole shoulder? And, like, now I'm, like, backtracking my training, and I'm like, oh, my God, I haven't done any of this, right?
Oh, me too.
Yeah, it's not just from your
crazy.
ribs to your pubic bone.
No.
Like
it's not your
it's
abs.
on the back, it's on the side. It's
for me, it was all
not
shoulder.
just your abs. Yeah.
And for me, it was all my shoulder, like upper body, like stabilizing and being able to set my scap. But then also, I don't know if you guys notice this too, before every workout now, I just get on the Swiss ball and I just like, I do this like pelvic stability stuff where I just kind of feel my pelvis and just like stabilize it and activate certain muscles in my glutes that I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm ready to go work out and fire these muscles properly.
And we talk about this all the time, being taller. We don't like to say it. It's just a disadvantage, and it's not. But when you're taller, you naturally go like this, right?
Yeah.
You just naturally.
Especially ladies.
When I was younger, I was always
You probably
just,
didn't want to be tall.
long and lanky, like really skinny,
Exactly.
and I would sit in my mom would come back, get us sit up straight. I never focused on my core like I do now, and I feel like my posture, just the way I present myself in general, is a lot better.
That's a huge game changer too, like in everyday life of. That's creating stabilization in your core when you're sitting. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't feel uncomfortable sitting like this. It's a natural thing to sit here.
Yep.
But a lot of people, it's not.
Yes.
Because they're so tight and so imbalanced, whether it's in their hip joints or their shoulders, that it's uncomfortable to sit up straight.
Yeah.
We've trained our spines to be in forward flexion so much that it's nearly impossible. But it can be repaired through healthy movement. And I feel like, going back to your breathing stuff, in all of my Pilates practice, Joseph Pilates believed that the first way to challenge any exercise that engages your core is to first challenge your breathing. And
that's like my core belief.
And it's the truth. So really learning how to inhale and exhale through the nose so that you can control your breath, control your core, and then secondarily do the work.
Right.
I think we take for granted how good people breathe naturally or unnaturally, right? And like how that affects their lives and their posture and all that.
Somebody told me to do this. When I was in therapy, like I grew really tall really fast. I was lanky.
Yeah.
Core was bad. I had back issues. Went to therapy and I talked to somebody and I was like, I just want you to breathe, but we're gonna use it as core work. They made me take a straw, okay, and I would breathe in my nose and I would pinch it in my lips, and that's why I would breathe out. He's like, all right, now you should feel like your belly button, I always say that in the gym, your belly button's going to your spine, and he goes, now hold it. And I was like, wow, I got sore from breathing correctly, and ever since then, it's been the biggest lesson that I've ever learned. I think in 7th grade,
That's awesome.
Just being able to
learn that,
me too.
right.
I think that's so sick.
But then I didn't know how to engage my core with movement, and now that I can do it all those put together is kind of
It
a
changes
great
everything,
feeling.
Yeah.
and it keeps you in your spine injury free.
Right.
But teaching yourself how to, and I don't think people also know how to breathe, like through all parts of their lungs. Like
Yes.
you're breathing through the front of your ribs, through the sides of your ribs, through the backs of your ribs, through your diaphragm. Like you're not just up and down breathing. You're
Right.
you're full body breathing and learning how to feel where your breath connects to different parts of your lungs and body.
Anthony does a great job of saying breathe through the area you're trying to pinpoint.
Oh, I like that.
And if you mentally can breathe through your diaphragm, you could do it. So if I need to breathe through my glute muscles, I don't know, just like releasing
Then you
it.
can engage
You can
them.
get in,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
It's just that body awareness, just a little bit more focused.
Yeah. And it can be applicable to cardio days too, the same way your body is being impacted by higher powered movements. So instead of thinking about how does this box jump feel on your ankles and your knees and your hips, how does it feel on your muscles that are
Right.
supporting
Right.
those joints? So don't think about your joints absorbing that.
Like you need to fire the right muscles in
Yes.
order to do the right correct movement.
Let your quads take it. Let your calves take it. Let the muscles through your feet accept that movement, whatever it is, so that it is again the mind-body connection.
I think one of my favorite things that I did with which exactly what you're talking about when I worked with like the younger athletes way back, we would do progression. So you would start with small jumps, like just firing your ankle muscles, and then you would progress to a drop squat, and which is not impactful. You're just learning how to drop into a squat. Then we would do box jumps, which is not impactful because it's up, and then you would start doing tucks and plyos, and you prep your body to get there. So I think like members need to like remember, okay, issues. Let's say we're doing a tuck and you're like, whoa, my body just cracked in half, landing.
Right.
Okay, we don't have to do the tuck. We can change the movement. It's probably your ankles are probably weak.
Right.
Let's do some strengthen those first.
Yep.
Then we're gonna strengthen up the
Right.
your quad and your knees, and then your hips. So,
Yes.
but if you're going backwards, you're probably gonna feel pain. I don't know. Just I feel like that
Right.
should be more open in the gym to change movements that don't feel good to you.
Yeah.
Especially
But that
cardio.
doesn't mean don't do the things that feel uncomfortable. I
Yes,
think there's
difference,
a
different
very,
movements.
very
Absolutely.
big difference.
As
in
far
that
as
too.
cardio and like
Right.
body-
And
It
you
comes back to
often-
self-awareness though too,
It
right? To
does.
be like, what's soreness, what's pain, what's uncomfortable,
I
what
know.
can I push through, what can
Yes.
I not?
Right.
So it's like that, even that fear threshold that we talk about, right, is just pushing yourself and even having that self-talk to be like, I'm okay right now. I'm not gonna get hurt. This is just normal soreness. It's
Right.
okay. You're coaching yourself through your body, allowing yourself to do that.
And I feel like anytime you challenge yourself a little bit more, you're gonna feel a little bit more soreness, and which is a good thing. And I think a lot of people, just like when it comes to food diets, they want that fast. Oh, I ate healthy today. Tomorrow I should look good, right?
Yeah, the
only.
immediate
And
gratification, right?
no one wants to hear this, but when they ask, I'm sure you get the question, "Are you? I want this. Where can I get it?" I said, "Time,
Yeah,
time."
yeah.
And I wanted you to talk about this because the other day you was in the gym. Talking about Anthony.
Yeah, we don't have cameras today.
I don't know if I got. I just noticed your body changed in a good, like,
Yeah.
just very more built, like. And I know he's been working hard, and it's been time. So every day he's coming in, and he knows his goals, and he's just letting it take one day at a time. And here he is. He's like, I never felt this good before, but he let the process happen like it should. He's got to. I don't know. I feel like you're a good example of
Well,
someone the members can learn from.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think we all learn from each other too, right? Like I think I've learned so much through F45. Like I'm not just selling; it's just being in the gym every day, challenging yourself through these different workouts, but then just being around like-minded people who are trying to better themselves, right? And you're just around a plethora of knowledge to be like, hey, what are you doing today to better yourself? What are you doing today, right? Like, it's like you inspire me that you have so many jobs, like so many, you work at so many places, right? Like, same with you, the way that you work with members and your relationships, and I'm like, it's inspiring shit. So it's like every day I get to do something I learn, you know, or I learn something new every day from people, and I get to work from people. But it's also like I'm having so much humility through these
We're really proud of you.
experiences.
I know.
I appreciate
so
it.
much. Like, I'm serious. Like, so much.
But it's like, I thought I played baseball my whole life, right? And made it to the top level, and I thought I knew things, right? But then you're just like, the things that I'm unlearning are amazing. And it's like, even the things with you guys, I was doing some private stuff with you, but I realized I really couldn't even get through an hour-long session. I did the last time, but I wanted to take some steps back and work on a few things that I felt like I needed to fix before I went through a class. And I told you that today too. I was like, we were doing some things and I'm like, I don't even think I'm getting the max effort of where I can be. I got to stabilize a few things first. I got to go back to the drawing board and fix a few things. And maybe in a few weeks I can revisit it, right? Like, but that's humility. I think when I was younger, I'd be like, fuck that. Like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I got this. Like, you know, and so I think as I get older, those things are more important.
I think that's why it's been my favorite thing to watch with you, is because you were in the show. You were at that top level. And I know you would say this. You wish you were, as far as mental, in your approaches to workouts.
I wish, yeah.
Now,
Yes.
when you was there. And I didn't go play this and that, but I say that all the time. I'm like, dang, I was a great athlete and I just didn't care about movements. I was just naturally good. And I don't know, I think the saying, you know, you have to fail to succeed, or you have to go through that mindset in order to appreciate where you are now. And I just think it's such a good something to be taught to people coming up or inspiring people.
And for me, when I was playing ball, I was just like so arrogant. Like I couldn't listen to anybody. And I think you can appreciate this because you and I butt heads sometimes when we work out, right? Can you imagine what I was like when I was 24?
No,
I was
I
cannot. Can you imagine? So it's like, I appreciate like seeing myself grow through those things too, and being like, man, if I just had this open mind when I was playing ball, and that's like the wherewithal to put myself in the position now of like, damn, can you imagine what you might learn from, you know, this, from that, from this person? It's like, it's cool to just have that different perspective.
I know, even athlete or not, I just feel like members in general at the gym, like it's kind of incredible what the body can get to. It's I don't know, I'm getting nerded out with it, and some people don't nerd out like I do. I know that, but I just think it's to be able to reach certain potentials or to see the way your body can function at these levels. It's just incredible to me, and I want everyone to feel that.
I know.
Me too.
That's what it is. You want everybody to feel the way and the changes that you feel.
I want everybody to listen to everything that we're talking about, because it really can change not even your body. I mean, it changes how you approach
life.
Everything
Every
in
single
life.
day. Every
I
way
know.
you do anything.
I know.
Well, I think it makes you show. So for me, I can only speak from my personal experience. The last 6 months probably, but even like the last like 2 or 3, like some of the things that I'm changing with my shoulders and my back and my serrated, like I was telling you today, my confidence just in life are just so much better because I just feel like I'm normal, like I'm good, I'm breathing right, I'm walking around healthy, like nothing hurts on my body for the first time in my freaking life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which that right there.
I know,
Yes.
it's crazy, right? Like I just thought it was normal to be I'm 6'7", I'm on a plane, I'm gonna be sore. Yeah, I was sore for a second, but then it goes away because I move, I'm walking, everything feels good, I'm breathing right, like, you know what I'm saying? It's nuts.
And my thought process of it is a lot of people get anxious or have anxiety about things that they can't control, right? All of us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I believe there's only one thing you can control in this life, and it's your body. It's what you put in your body
like that,
and how you perform, or the things you do to it. So it's kind of like it's your car and it's your machine. It's the only thing you can control.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to be able to say I am in control of myself, I think is one of the most empowering feelings
Right.
ever.
That's the way I feel about the mind.
And it relates.
or the mind, or the heart, or
It's
it
the same
applies
thing,
to mind, body, spirit,
Right.
all of it. It's
but
all,
then it goes back to the confidence thing. Like, okay, I know how to control myself the way I want to feel, the way I want to. I don't like to say look, but kind of, yes.
Bit, yeah.
And that right there just gives you a complete confidence.
It's true.
And that's why, like, when you see someone kind of get that little taste
gets
of it,
it.
you're like, whoa, and I
And
say,
watch
you see,
the
don't
switch.
stop, keep going.
I love
It's
that.
true. I know, it is fun to see. And I feel like there are people that have a hard time getting into that mindset, whether it's because they have injury or, struggle with some sort of emotional barrier that keeps their confidence down or whatever. But even when you feel like you might not be in control of, your shoulder that's injured, or, the stress you have in your life, it's attitudinal, right? I mean, you can, at a minimum, start by controlling how you perceive those barriers, and then That's your first step. Okay, well then once you get that under your belt, like then what can you accomplish next? Then you can apply that to movement or whatever it might be, and it's life-changing.
It really is. Well, like an injury or a setback, that's things you can't control, right?
Right.
I mean, we want to try to control an injury or prevent injuries.
Right.
But I feel like, yeah, it's a little bit of a setback, but it's honestly how you approach it. And your elbow, for example, you did have a good mind for that one, right?
But I think too is like, I always say this to people is I feel like the same thing is like there's so many things that are out of your control, but what is in control is your response to them. Same thing, right? So what's out of your control is the injury, but how do you respond to it? Do you get mad and go get drunk and you complain about it to everybody and woe is me? Or do you say, okay, why did this happen? This is an opportunity to learn about my body. How can I prevent this in the future? What am I going to do every single day to get better, right? Like,
And I'm going to be better than I was before the injury.
Correct. And that's a completely different neurochemistry in your brain and the way that you approach the exact same situation, right?
And your body's going to respond to whatever you're given it. If you're in that mindset, that podcast, remember? Like, and then your body's just full of all the stress and it's just going down here from there. But I don't know. I think the setbacks should be more of like gas in the fire. Like, no, screw it. I'm not letting that define me. I'm going to get better.
And if you've got those injuries, you talk to us.
I feel like that's
find those modifications.
A way you should approach your movements too, though.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, and tell me I'm lying, if you were to go up to someone and they were doing a box jump, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I'm like,
Can't
of
do it.
course.
Then you're not gonna.
I said, well, let me stand. I'm gonna stand in front of you. Hands are here. I promise your body can do this. Like, you physically can. Your body's not gonna be able to physically do it because you're telling it can't. Your body's gonna listen to whatever you tell it to do. It's kind of incredible in that way. Like, come on, do it. And I'm pretty sure 100% of the time that moment happens, guess what? They do the movement.
Yeah. And then also too, like you're teaching your brain, you're breaking that threshold, right? Like, so then you're going into this uncomfortable space and then your brain's like, oh, I can do this. And it gives them confidence to do it again and replicate it and get better and stronger. I had that exact experience. I think one of the coolest things about the body we're talking about is it was on one of those step ups and it was like a 3-set thing. So I did the first set and I was like frustrated. I was like, damn, that felt weird. I wasn't hitting the ground and hitting up quicker. And I was like, I'm going to really make it an intention to like focus on that the next set. And then literally it was 30 seconds later, it felt like a completely different exercise. Like I was like, I'm like, it's so amazing how the brain just needs to experience something, think about it critically, and then go apply it. And then it was a completely different experience 30 seconds later.
That's why I think the mind is just incredible.
I know.
We could talk about it all day, but
I know.
Sorry, we probably have to go to dinner. Are we getting close? What time do we have to wrap up?
Actually, my dinner's not till 7:30.
Oh, so we got some time. Can we keep talking? Because I'm rolling.
Either that or we're going to have cocktails.
We said, I should have brought a bottle of wine. Like you started
that's
here.
what we're going to start your night off. That would be great. Yeah.
I know going back to that, for me, this is, if anyone was wondering what my mind is doing as I'm approaching my workouts, I always give myself a goal. So kind of similar to what you were just saying, like readjust. So let's say we're doing a broad jump, okay? I will base it off my first broad jump. So I would jump as explosive as I can, and I always try to beat it. So my goal would be, okay, like if there's a little dot on the ground, I'm gonna try to jump to the dot.
Nice. Yeah.
For this jump ski erg, it's like, as high as I was jumping the first one, I have got to keep going for the rest of them. That's the way I kind of approach it. Yes, it's my heart rate going up, but I'm gradually getting better and better. But I mentally told myself beforehand.
I love it.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, that's the way I approach it.
I love that too. And I mean, I think we need to be very clear that if you've never done a box jump and had, hip replacement or knee surgery, like we're not suggesting that your body is capable of doing things that injuries prevent you from doing. So let's be very clear about that because we're not trying to
push through.
injure any of our members.
Right.
But there are ways that if you do have previous injuries or if you're just new to movement patterns that you've not experienced before, that's the warm-up is a real thing, y'all. There's a reason that we do this specific movement patterns in the warm-ups because they're prepping you for those. So I see so many people, shitting around during the warm-up and talking and doing other things. There's a reason that if you don't want to do the burpees at the end, there's a reason we've put burpees at the end.
Right, and that's why when I do demos and box jumps are on the screen, I'm not doing them because my body's just not ready for that.
Yes.
And it's a prime example. I could do the tallest box with ease once I'm warmed.
Yep.
So perfect example of why warm-ups.
Yep.
Remember,
yeah,
like
hurt
a
his
week
back,
ago,
yeah.
he walked
Yep.
into class, went straight into a demo unprepared, and ended up with back spasms that
Yep.
afternoon.
Yep.
Like, don't skip your warm up.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point too. Like you said, not pushing through too many things, right? Like, but I think it all comes back to the awareness of what you need. Hey, maybe you drank the night before, or you're a little dehydrated, or you were in a car super long or traveled, right? Like you probably need to warm up a little bit more. Maybe get there 2 or 3 minutes earlier, and get some blood flow through your body and know your body and those things.
I know me personally, I always say this, that if, let's say it's laps, and we're doing 3 laps, that third lap, I am golden.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Ready.
Oh, it's the best one.
I can go again. I feel like I could go again. I'm warmed up.
Yeah.
That's why I think like coming before, like doing small things before class, like even if it's 5 minutes, even before we do the warm up, if you got time, I mean,
absolutely
do it.
And I love doing that too. And that's where I was like, for me, on some of the things that I focus on in workouts and things are, I told you I've played baseball, so I have shoulder and elbow things that I've protected throughout my career. So some of my movement patterns reflect that, right? So if I'm doing a push-up now and I actually feel some pain or like discomfort here, I'm like, oh, that's probably good. I need to push through and feel that a little bit more because I haven't activated that muscle the last 10 years protecting it playing baseball. So it's like little things like that you start knowing your body or knowing yourself, that you can recognize those feelings of uncomfortableness or pain or discomfort, right? And like and push through them or not, right? There's certain times that you don't want to, like you said, when you have an injury and you're not trying to be a psycho.
And we have so many very seasoned members that have been, you know who when we're talking to you,
right?
You know who you are. And for new members, that you'll start organically figuring these things out.
You gotta feel it. You gotta keep showing up.
Yeah, you gotta keep showing up.
And we got a member, and I want to call her out. Can I call? Yes, because I'm so proud of her. I don't know if she's gonna listen or not. But Christina Scott, you know Christina.
Oh yeah.
I'm so proud of her for her success with her in-body. That's not even like, yes, that's amazing, But every day she comes and I said, keep showing up. And I've been telling her to keep showing up for quite some time now. And she's doing movements. And she keeps coming up to me. I mean, it's like at least once a week.
I love that.
I wasn't able to do that before. And I was like, this makes me want to run around the building and hoop and holler.
That's such a good feeling.
And I really do find joy like seeing them do that. But right there, I'm like, I kept reminding her time. And I'm like, I know you don't want to hear that. Consistency. Stay with it. You're gonna see it. I promise. Just hold up. And she's here, and now it's her motivation. She got a taste of it, and she's like, I'm never going back.
Now new goal.
I'm gonna keep going. And I said, you're just gonna keep gradually getting better and better. So proud of her. I just feel like she's an inspiration.
Yeah,
she should be
awesome.
for other people. So.
But the same
and that's
is true for people
so many other members.
on the opposite end of it. If you have plateaued, there's a reason you've plateaued. You're not pushing outside of your comfort zone, or if you're still feeling you're, experiencing back pain after doing a lower body day, like there's something that we need to help you correct in your technique that is creating that chronic pain from it. Like it's not the workout that's giving you pain, it's some imbalance that you're overcompensating. So let us help you with that. So you've got, I know we say it all the time, you've got to tell us when something doesn't feel good on your body in a painful way.
Because
or you have energy and injury.
And I would hope most people can differentiate between pain and discomfort, because in order to get better, you're gonna feel discomfort.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh God, this is hard, or my heart rate's really high. But that's when you focus on your breathing and you will hit a plateau if you don't get to that discomfort or you don't push yourself.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we talked about too that I wanted to talk about was you shouldn't plateau if you really do understand the workout too, right? And you can challenge yourself within the workout. Okay, we talked about this before, Romans, right? It's 25 seconds of work or 30 seconds of work, which is relatively low for F45 workouts, right? So right then and there, that should be like, okay, I should be able to push myself a little heavier,
right,
and I'll probably do less reps. So it's okay to do less reps on that day. And then if you have a class where there's 55 seconds, you should probably know that you go a little lighter with the weight and you get more reps and you get your heart rate a little higher. And those are the little hacks that you just start like tinkering your workout to be like, all right, cool, today I'm going to push myself a little bit more and I'm going to try to get my heart rate in that 80% for 15 minutes today, you know, and like really focus on that as my like main goal. And that's how you like just make it kind of competitive, like where you were saying, like picking out spots on the ground to reach and little things like that just make the same workout just a little bit different.
A little bit different.
And, more fun for you.
I'm glad you said that. I read something the other day, and it's something that I've definitely learned to believe in, I guess you can say. You know how you want to be creative with workouts, and I do, like, especially cardio days, you know how I'll add things. But as far as like certain movements and strength movements, the simple that's been here for years on end will always be that good. And we do repeat a lot of movements, correct?
Yep.
And I think, I would hope most members are like, oh, we're doing that again. But like a deadlift, if you can perfect a deadlift to be able to push yourself every time and get better, that will always be one of the best lifts. A push-up. You know, no, everybody's like, oh, I hate push-up, I'm gonna do something else. No, push-up's one of the greatest movements ever created. And certain movements that we do that are just simple, very repeated workout or movements, I think our members should approach you the way Anthony just said, like, okay, form, how I'm gonna get better this time. Are we doing it again on Friday?
Yeah, today my form is what I'm focusing on. That's, and like sometimes like I'll pick out like a focus for the workout too. Be like, today I'm gonna focus on stabilization, and usually it depends on my sleep, and that's usually how I'll like, I'm gonna push myself a little harder. I'm in the green today. I got 7 hours of sleep. Cool. I'm gonna like really try to get my heart rate up. If I didn't get really good sleep, I'm a little bit more stressed. Maybe that's more of a stability day. Those are the days you guys will see me not using as much weights, maybe tinkering my exercises a little bit, doing some wall sits instead of squats, because I just realized that my threshold isn't there that day to be pushed, you know, and I want to still get something out of the workout, and I still want to have like the 45 minutes to myself and all those things. So
I'm so glad you said that, because I've learned to train myself that way. And I read something the other day. I'm trying to teach people, because it's been a game changer for me. Rest, sleep, on how important it is. And we all got our 3. We both had a short amount of time the other day, and my body wasn't ready for anything. And I even told him, like, I'm not ready for the workout.
Yeah.
The other day I was reading something, and it said, the days you wake up, and we have the Whoop to kind of tell us, so it's data. But if you don't have one and you wake up, you're like, whoa, I am not rested. I don't feel well. You go and try to push yourself at the gym, you're actually doing your body more harm than good.
Yeah.
Rest is actually more important when it comes to when you wake up feeling that bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now you just cause more stress, and the workout was probably pointless. If not, so I think that's so important for our members. You always want to like get that workout in. Me too.
Yeah.
I'm famous for it, but I'll approach it differently. Okay, today I'm gonna go for a walk instead, or I won't go to my max.
Yeah. And so it's the difference between if you normally do a blue on a kettlebell swing, and maybe if it's a 45-second rep and you usually do, 1 a second, it's grabbing a gray and just going through the movement almost methodically, You're still having the movement patterns, you're still firing the muscles, you're just not doing as many reps. You're still getting the workout in and you're doing stuff for your body that's good, but you're not pushing yourself or putting yourself at risk for an injury or some other body part taking over,
Right.
And as it pertains to building muscle, I mean, we all know the only way to build muscle is to break it down.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you're in the gym 7 days a week, lifting as heavy as you possibly can, as you know, you just said it, the magic happens in recovery.
Yep.
That's when your muscle fibers are rebuilding. That's when tissue is putting itself back together. That's when your body composition changes are actually happening. It's not when you're sore and you can barely sit down to go to the bathroom and you're coming in and you're doing a whole nother round of back squats.
Yep.
Facts. Everyone, put that in your notes.
Yep.
Exactly what Kristen just said.
We love seeing you in the gym.
Right.
Every day.
Yes.
Right.
But it's not always realistic for your body, depending on what your goals are. If you are literally trying to build muscle and build strength, you cannot apply 100% effort to strength days every single day.
No.
Or at least focus on pushing movements versus pulling movements. Or do upper body focus versus lower body. We'll help you figure it out. But
Which is why I always say
recovery is everything.
In the sore feeling, that's that lactic acid built up.
Yeah.
Movement in general, that's why I'm a big believer in movement, will help. but movement not in the sense of going
Correct.
lift as heavy as possible.
Uh-huh.
Just go move your body. Just your body's supposed to move.
Right.
Just not that.
And if
level.
you've got one of those days and you show up to class and tell us, we're not going
Right.
to push you. This is
Please
your
tell us.
hour. It's your workout. We're not going to make you do something your body's not ready for. So
I really do appreciate when the members come in and they say, hey, I'm having one of those days. I'm like, thank you. No, like, I really do
Yeah.
appreciate you telling me that, because now I know how to approach you
Exactly.
during this workout.
Coach you, yeah,
Absolutely.
appropriately, yeah.
So I think more members, hey, this is if you're listening,
Yes.
start talking to us.
I love it.
Or if you're feeling golden one day,
Yeah, we
and you
wanna hear
really want to
that.
go for it, please let me know. I swear, someone asked me the other day, what do you do when you're walking around? I said, do you really want to know? I was like, I
What
really
do you mean? Like they just ask when you
Like
you're
when I'm walking around,
every
like, what are
day,
you
just
thinking?
living?
Like, what are you thinking? I'm like,
you mean
how-
during the workout?
yeah, like, you know,
Oh, right.
and I'm like, I'm looking at the movements, seeing how we can make it harder, or, you know, single legged or this and that. I'm constantly thinking. So if you ever need some ideas,
Oh yeah, Keri's the master at that.
Yeah.
There is no.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. You're
No
sick.
question.
Your
I know.
challenges are fucking.
No, the other day I got in the gym and you made my brain work good with the firing certain muscles.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
how can we do this? And I don't know. We're talking a lot.
Yeah, we're still going. Yeah. We're just wrapping.
making sure my
We're probably gonna wrap up soon. Yeah, is it dead?
No.
Is it still going?
Yeah. Yeah.
How long we at? 49 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably wrap up soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, you like to. I got your brain going about
Yes,
this.
and
Was
I
it
literally-
today? The serratus? When I was talking about the serratus?
Yesterday. He's
Yesterday,
like,
okay.
what do you know about the muscle? And like, speaking less terms for
It's
me.
probably the most underutilized muscle in the human body. is
So I was like, I
the
think
serratus.
it's
Yeah.
it's definitely part of your core, but I'm like, it's such a hard part to target. So here
Yeah.
I am, just like thinking and being a weirdo.
Yeah.
I think we figured out one movement.
100%. Yeah,
that pull.
I think we actually had a couple, and now I feel like I have 4 or 5 like different exercises, and this is what I tell people too about your phone and social media and curating your content and shit. I'm not even kidding. My feed is majority now like corrective exercises
Mine
and
is
different
too.
things, like, and I save them all in categories.
so much.
Yeah.
It is all about the things we constantly
Yup.
talk
I know.
about.
Yeah, but it's great because that's what I see on my feed, and it's like just reprogramming my brain to
Yep.
be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna try that tomorrow. I'm gonna see it, and it's just like anything else. The more you see of something, your body's gonna recognize it and then try to replicate it. So it's like, I don't know, like those things are super fun for me. That's why I have like 5 or 6 different exercises that I do before F45 workouts now, like depending on the type of workout, like what I'm trying to activate and that kind
Right,
of stuff. So
right.
It's cool.
If you could visualize it, you could do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I believe
I believe that.
Yeah.
100%.
Like visualizing yourself doing it. I know
Yeah.
you do. I do it
Right.
too. Your
Well,
body's
that's
your body is almost like it did it already, right? Because the mind's that powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I envision myself or visualized in depth, perfect form of something I want to do or a
Yep.
new movement,
Yep.
my body's familiar with it now. So
Yeah.
going into that movement, I'll be more efficient.
Well, that's why I asked you, like, muscle IQ, and I was like, what does a serratus do? Because that's how I start to reprogram my neurology around working out, is if I understand what the muscle does, then when I'm doing that exercise, it allows me to target it a lot better, right? So it's like a bicep contracts and brings the fist to the shoulder. If you know that, it's like, oh, when I'm doing a curl, that's what the muscle that I'm targeting, right? It's just like a different type of, I don't know, awareness.
You would have
I'm a nut
loved,
job.
loved exercise physiology.
I probably
Come on.
would
Yeah.
have, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you ever want to, that's
probably
what they
will,
talk
yeah,
about,
I
all
know.
body mechanics, and
Yeah.
then the way your system works.
Yeah,
You'll love
well,
it.
well, that's what to me it's amazing, right? Because like I'm redoing my toes, and like that affects my knee stability, which all the way up
Right.
the chain is so fascinating to me. I'm like, how do we not teach kids this, or at least athletes
Right.
this, like early on at an early age, to be like, this is what you should be thinking about when you squat. No one told me that. They were
Right.
just like, try to get that bar,
Right.
up,
It's true.
That, and another thing, like young, like kids growing up, how your body should be responding to things as your body's growing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But also the evolution of life, right? We start here, we're gradually growing, and you're gonna start to learn new things. Jumping really doesn't come until a little later, right?
Yeah.
And then you're here, your body can still jump. It's when you quit doing the movements that your body starts
Yeah.
Yep.
to go down.
Yep.
So I think the same sense as far as the older population, teaching them correct forms, that way their body doesn't go down as fast
Yeah, 100%.
as they would if they just completely said, no, I'm not jumping
Yeah.
anymore.
That's a
right?
good point. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I see it happen so often, especially like like my grandma, like that era. Like, oh no, I'm at a certain age, I'm done. Well, why? Your body's you can still move.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the way I think it.
Well, and like you're talking about, what is the function of the bicep or the serratus or whatever, but also what is the function of the movement pattern? Like, what is the purpose of a deadlift?
Right.
What is, in terms of functional movement outside of the gym, why is it important that you do a back squat correctly, or a low row, or whatever it might be?
How many things in everyday life can you be like, oh, that feels like what I did at F45?
That's what I was just going to go on.
If we could break down a workout and talk about the application to daily movement of this looks like this, I think people would be like, it would change the way people apply.
Absolutely.
Or if we made a chart, right, of like a picture of like a mom holding a baby and be like, this fires your oblique and your lats and your whatever.
Right.
In F45, when you do this movement, when you do this, they're working the same muscles. You know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that.
F45 is called F45 for a reason.
Right. Well, you think about it, you only go to the gym to work out for 45 minutes, an hour. You got so much more you got to do throughout the day.
Yeah.
Ups and downs, and you might have to take stairs. And it's all about, people work out to look good, but you're going to be more efficient throughout the day. But the other day, I was in the airport. Same thing we talk about now. And there was a lady, you got to take your shoes off, go through the ins and out of that. She couldn't put her shoes back on. And I couldn't stand up and slip my shoes on. Most of us can, or just kind of bend over. And she had to sit down, and she physically could not get her leg just there. And I even looked, and I took a moment, and it wasn't like me making fun or not. It was just like, whoa, you forget that to be daily life, just to be efficient for simple things like putting your shoes on. That's a struggle for some people who
stuff you have to do. How are you getting out of bed in the morning? How are you coming from sitting in that chair to standing? What muscles are you using to get from seated to standing?
Right.
What muscles are you using to get from standing to seated to lying?
We talk about that.
We talk about it all the time. And
how to reach to get something.
Yes.
That's the biggest one. I think that's why most people have bad sciatic problems. They don't know how to reach and grab something.
That was the biggest thing for me too, like little things like I told you of realizing and just life, right? You learn things. But I started following this guy's content. He works with NBA players, and he talks a lot about how tall people, since their whole life they've had length, they're more of reachers than they are exerting force from the ground, right? So it's easier to reach for something and use a muscle of reach than to push into the ground and use that force to get you there, you know? So that to me is so fascinating too, how little things like that in life affect all of your movements and your workouts and then your posture and all that shit. So that's so cool to me too.
Especially with kids.
Oh yeah.
Holding a baby on your hip.
But it's so hard to,
people really pull
as
on
you
that board.
age, you realize how...
And your body's going to change with age too. It will.
But,
30,
if you only knew now, then what you know now. What we were talking earlier, it's just to be in the right mindset to absorb that information at a younger age would change people's lives.
And I tell Anthony all the time, there's two different eras of people that I want to, the middle ground, I'm good. The younger ones, come on, learn from me, be better, okay? Be me at that age, now. And then the older population as well. Don't stop, keep going. Because if you do, it's just going to gradually get worse.
Absolutely.
My biggest the inspiration of the older generations who's still moving efficiently. I think it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my goals to be 90-something, being doing F45 workouts. I'm going to do it.
I remember the day.
I think we have quite a few members who could do that.
Absolutely.
100%.
I know. Man.
Good talks, y'all.
This was fun. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Yeah.